Well, yesterday we have discussed like how you need to develop a simple login form with username field, password field, and we have even seen a anchor tag. Okay, and even using a anchor tag, we can navigate to another page by either submitting a form or either using an anchor tag. We can navigate to another page. While submitting a form, we can submit the form using method get or post. But anchor tag will definitely use method get only. Anchor we cannot submit or we cannot navigate to another page through post using the anchor tag. Anchor tag will definitely use get. So whatever the request parameters that we need to send through your anchor tag, okay, we'll send here itself. Okay, something like so whatever the request parameters that we need to send, okay, through a hyperlink, we'll send at the anchor tag itself. Okay, so this anchor tag also can be used to navigate to another page. Okay, navigate to some other page. Okay, from this page, when we click on the hyperlink, the request will go to the second page, but definitely it will go only through get method. Anchor tag will not have any post kind of thing. Okay, only form can have get or post, but anchor tag will definitely be get only. Okay, and once we have discussed this anchor tag, let me develop the signup.html. So this tag is HTML. Save it as hmm? Okay. Sign up is already there. Just let me develop the content of the sign up page. So let me develop some registration kind of page. Okay. Just input type equal to text, name equal to username. Okay, this will give you a text field. Input type equal to text and name equal to something will give you a text field. Let me give a break for here. Okay, and last name. Input type equal to even is also text. We can give this text in single quotes or double quotes. Single quotes or double quotes are not different in HTML, they are same. It's first name, last name, username, username, type equal to text, name equal to username. Let me give a break. Okay, next we go to password. For password types, input type equal to password. Name equal to password 1. Okay. Let me give a break. Confirm password. This I'll give the password for the second time and confirm it. Type equal password, but the request parameter name is password 2. Okay. You can give the maximum length for any field using the attribute max length. Okay. I'm giving for one number. I know that the maximum length is 10, so I'm giving the maximum length as 10. Okay. Gender. This gender will be among the listed options that we need to select, or it will be a field that we can enter.
Already listed.
It will be a listed option. We should select one among them. Can we select multiple genders?
No.
No. We cannot select multiple genders. There will be a listed option. Okay. In that list, we can select at maximum only one. Okay. For that kind of purposes, we have a radio button. So if there are list of options and we can select maximum only one, and if the either is selected, the first one should be deselected. Let's consider male and female is there. If male is selected, female should be deselected. If female is selected, then male should be deselected. That means maximum only one option should be selectable. If that is the case, then what we do is we go for a radio. Type equal to radio. Gender. Value equal to to give some spaces, we go for ampersand NBSP semicolon. Ampersand NBSP semicolon will provide some spaces in a screen. Okay, so now I'm going for another input type equal to radio, which is for female. Value is F, and these male and female, these two are only just labels for that fields. when we submit the form, the actual values that go to the server is M and F. Okay, these two are just labels. This male and this female will not go to the server. Okay, just these are labels, physical. Just these are cosmetic labels on the screen. The actual values that go to the server is the value present in the radio field. Okay, and let me give a break here. Okay, and then the next thing is this is how we can develop a radio with multiple options. That maximum only one can be selected, but there is a chance that uh, there are multiple options. Okay, more than one option can be selected. Okay, for example, like the technologies that we know, if you go for Naukri or Monster, okay, there will be a list of technologies there. Okay, there we can select multiple technologies. Okay, so if that is the case, we can go for there should be multiple options. Okay, at the same time many options can be selected. Okay, one or more than one option can be selected. In that case, we go for a checkbox.
So we have to list only among the two buttons. With the radio button.
With the radio button, maximum one.
Okay. Among
There
the
might be 10 options or 100 options. Among those 100 options, maximum only one can be selected. But if you go for a checkbox, if there are multiple options, one or multiple options can be selected. Technologies. Like this, the same name should be there for all the fields. All the fields, all the checkbox fields should have the same name, so that they belong to the same category. They represent technologies. Okay. Same, all the checkboxes or all the radio buttons of the same group should have the same name. Okay. Both here also, both have the same name, gender. Okay, but they have different labels, male and female, and different values, but they represent the same. Okay, gender. Okay, like this. We have a checkbox. Let me give a break here. Okay, input type equal to checkbox, name equal something, and value. Actually, this label will not go. Same in case of radio button. This label will not go to the server. The actual value that exists in the checkbox field, that value will go to the server. Okay, and again address. Let me keep this address on the top. Better. Address. Okay, and address, is it a simple text field where we enter 10 or 20 characters, or will be a field where we enter more than 100 characters?
sometimes more than 100.
It can be. Okay, so if there is a large text that we need to enter, then we go for, rather than going for a text field, we go for a text area. If there is some large text that we need to enter, we go for a text area.
is text area.
No, we need not give any type here. Okay, just text area name equal to something. Text area name equal to something. That's it. Let me give you break even here. Okay. Now, if there is a large text that we need to enter, then we go for a text area. And let me go for state. Okay. So, will state be will state have some changing options, or will it be like options which are fixed?
Already fixed. You can check.
Something like most probably it will be a fixed options. Okay, we can select one among those options. Okay, for that purposes we go for a drop down. Okay, the drop down can be represented using select. State. For drop downs we use select. Just we give for select name equal to something. Okay, and what are the possible values listed in the drop down? Okay, those possible values will be represented as options in HTML. Option value equal to AP, sorry, AP, and the label is this is Andhra Pradesh is just label, but the actual value that goes to the server is the value AP. Okay, the same way. So therefore, by default the first option will be selected. So what we'll do is we'll make the first option as a default option, like we select a stage. Okay, so the value will be blank. Okay, now this is a select box, and for a select box we'll discuss that later on. Multiple select box. Okay, once we discuss a select box, yeah, and we can have even images. Like for some icons, what we do is we'll give some images. Okay, later on we'll discuss how we can put images on HTML page. This is enough for now, so let me submit. And one more thing is type file. Okay, we can upload some file also from the HTML page. So in order to upload any file system or any physical file through HTML, what we do is we'll go for type equal to file, name equal to resume. Okay, and then at last the submit button. Type equal to submit, value equal to complete sign up. Okay, so this is my almost my sign up page or registration page. Some of the interviews will be asking, please write a registration page with some of the HTML elements that you know. Okay, like this we write a registration page. Now let me go to the browser, go for the login page. Okay, let me try to click on this hyperlink. When I click on this hyperlink, what happens? We are there in test.html. When I click on this hyperlink, it will go to signup.html. Okay, so with the request parameter 1 2 3 4. Okay, so first name, last name is text field. Okay, okay, what is this? Address is phone number. Okay, we can give some address. If we exceed some limit, it will give scrolls. So if you see here, it's giving a scroll. Okay, so there is a text which has more length, then we go for a text area. Okay, then if you see here, gender is, first I have selected male and then I'm trying to select female. So it's a radio button, okay, where multiple options are not allowed to be selected. Okay, but in case of checkbox, you can select multiple options. At the same time, we can deselect also. Okay, it belongs to the same group, but we can select multiple options. Okay, so in case of state, it's a drop down. Let me give you a break so that it will be better. So let me select a state. Okay, so that we can select multiple. We cannot select multiple state. At maximum, we can select only one state. Even we can get a resume. So this it will give you a resume. Okay, this browse button, we did not develop this browse button. With input type equal to file, it will give you a text field and associated browse button. Okay, and then this is a drop down where we can select only one value. Okay, if you want to make the drop down to be selected with multiple values, there is a possibility. Like if you go for monster, okay, the technologies or locations are displayed in a drop down where we can select multiple locations, multiple desired locations. We can go for Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad, like that. Okay, we can select multiple locations as our desired locations. So there it is a drop down. Okay, in that case, whether the user has the possibility to select only one option or user may select even multiple options.
Exactly.
So there is a drop down with 10 values or 20 values, 20 locations. User can select multiple options. In that case, what we do is we go for attribute multiple equal to true. If you make multiple equal to true, then the user can select multiple options. If you see here, if I refresh the page, then it will be a multi-select box. So by using shift, user can select even multiple options, or user can even unselect multiple options. So this is a multi-select box. Okay. If you want to make a select box as a multi-select box, just use the attribute multiple equal to true. Okay. That's how we can develop some HTML elements. Okay. And even we can group multiple elements. Okay. If you want to group some elements together, okay, we use divs. If we want to divide our HTML page into multiple divisions, okay, we use a tag name div. Okay. Sorry. And one more thing is we can give ID to any of the HTML component. ID can be given to any of the HTML component. Okay, there can exist multiple HTML components with the same name, but there should not exist multiple HTML components with the same ID. ID should be unique across the HTML page. There can exist multiple HTML components with the same name, but there should not exist multiple HTML components with the same ID. It will not give any error, but it's a better practice so that ID will be unique across the HTML components. Okay, so we should make it in such a way. Let me put some images. This one image is not there.
Under the libraries, go for picture.
Let me put this in our local folder. Now I put some this is the file format. Pings.jpg, right?
Yeah.
Just I'll give image as also equal to jpg. Okay. Just if you want to give image, you give image tag with src. Okay. Let me refresh the page. We can give them, but we can reach the size as we wish. Okay, we can concise or we can increase the size as we wish, but by default whatever the image exists, the image will come. Okay, but using some Photoshop kind of tool, we will concise the image into specific size, and for any website there will be some standard size for images, icon images. Okay, so directly we may use the image. This is how we can get the images into our HTML page. Okay. These are the most of the tag service. And one more thing that we need to discuss is tables. How we can make use of HTML tables. Okay. Whatever the HTML that we are going to discuss is not the ultimate one, but it's a minimal one which is required to discuss web applications. Okay, in Java. Okay. If you want to discuss HTML in depth, it will take at least 1 year. Okay, so that much is there in HTML. Okay, and the stylings and scriptings, but we'll discuss up to some boundaries. Okay, whichever is required, whatever is required for us to discuss web applications. And if you want to go for a tabular structure, what we do is table. We'll go for a table. Okay, and the headers of the table will be represented using each and every row in the table will be represented using tr. Tr is a tag which is used to represent a row. And first table will be having some tags. T head, is a header of the table. Okay, T body is the body of the table. And T footer of the table. The table will have a header, body and footer. Okay, and let me give something in the header. The header will have a row where we give the header values. The header values will be given using th. Okay, and let me give the header id, name, age. I'm giving 3 headers. In the body, I'll give the corresponding values. I'll give corresponding rows. The rows, either headers or values, will be given in tr. Okay. But the actual content in the body will be given in a td. It's a column. It's a column in a specific row. td represents a column. Okay, so the first column is and then id. So let me give 100, and the second column is name. So in the same way, I'll give multiple. I can give any number of rows. Okay, let me give 2 rows. Like this, I have 2 rows. Okay, 2 rows and 3 columns. Okay, and in the footer, let me give something like that. Okay, now let me try to refresh the page. Let me remove this image so that it has actually got a big space. Yeah. Let me remove this div, not a first element. So it's a table where ID is there, name is there, and age is there. The corresponding rows are there. But doesn't appear to be a table structure just because there are no borders between the cells. So to have borders between the cells, we do just have borders between the cells of the table. Okay, and we can give in border column. Okay, for a table. So the borders are in red color. Okay, likewise, we can do multiple things with the table, but make it not like the table should the elements of the table should follow the same hierarchy. First table should be there, and table should be ended, and T head, T body, and T foot. Okay, T head, T body, and T foot. Okay, in the T head we should have a TR tag, which is a row which has all the headings. Okay, and T body should contain all the rows. Okay, and TD should contain the individual cell information, individual column information. Likewise, we may have multiple rows. Okay, some people what they will do is, again here in TD they will give TR. Like this. Is it a correct hierarchy? No, just because the TD has another TR, but TR should be a child only for as a table or T body. Okay, so what we should give is here wherever we wish we can put a table, either in TD or wherever we wish. So this is not a correct structure, but this kind of HTML page is accepted by some of the browsers. See, this is accepted by some of the browsers. It's not giving error, but most probably Internet Explorer will not accept this kind of coding. Okay, improper HTML coding standards. So what we should is we should take a in such a way that okay the HTML coding standards are proper. So each and every element should be placed wherever it is supposed to be placed. Okay, so TR should be placed only in the as a table or T head or T body. So what we will do is again in TD we go for a table. Okay, and in that table we place the TR. Okay, so in a T body we place the row. So now this row is a part of TD, but it is there in the table T body. Okay, so now it will not make any difference here. Okay, if you see here, this it is in a table format where it is fitting in the specific column. Okay, so now if you want to go for multiple cells here, let me go for multiple rows here. A, B, like this. Let me give the border of this in the internal table as green. Okay, so let me refresh this table. So if you see here, this is a table where it has a column. In that column again a table is there where there are two rows, and this rows has a border color of green. Okay, that's how we need to do. Okay, if we want to give another table structure, we can give, but we should give in a proper format. Okay, like it's an internal table. Okay, like that we can develop multiple table structures. Understood? Okay, most probably this HTML is enough. Okay, and we can apply some style. We can apply some styles like using the style attribute. Okay, there are several attributes. We will discuss that later on in CSS. Okay, just I am giving the font weight as bold as a style. Using style attributes, we can define any number of styles. Okay, for a HTML component. See, for that row, for this specific row, the font is made as bold. Okay, so like this, using the style attribute, we can implement styles for HTML component. Styles specific to HTML components, and the styles that we have given specific to HTML component, we call them as inline styles. Okay, we call them as inline styles. Inline styles. So in the HTML component itself, we are defining some styles. If we define the styles in HTML component itself, then those styles are said to be inline styles. Okay, we'll discuss in depth about these styles later on when we are going to discuss CSS, cascading style sheets, where we will be discussing that at the end after discussing servlets and JSP. We'll discuss all the scripting and styling elements at the end. First we'll discuss CSS, and then we'll discuss JavaScript in depth, and then jQuery and all. Okay, so at present this is enough. This HTML is enough for us. Okay, but there are several things in HTML that we can do. Okay, several components. Okay, but yeah, for a layman, as a developer who is learning HTML, this knowledge is enough. Okay, we'll see later on. Okay, and to start up with, we have HTML page, which is a startup static web resource. Okay, we cannot display the content on condition basis. Like if ID is greater than 100, then display in one format. If ID is less than 100, then display in another format. If this is this, then display this content. If this is that, then display another content. Or get information from the database and display on the web page. All these things we cannot do. Okay, if we use HTML. HTML page is a static web page. That means whatever the thing that we do, that we develop in HTML, only that will reflect in the browser. But based on some condition, some dynamic content cannot be populated on the browser if you go for HTML. So for that reason, we go for dynamic web resources like servlets and JSP. First, we'll discuss servlet. Okay, it's not like this. Servlet is the only dynamic web resource. Servlet is a dynamic web resource with respect to Java technology. Okay, so we'll discuss how we can develop web pages using servlets. Okay, now if we want to develop web pages using servlets, we should have some classes which are used to develop servlets. The classes or the interfaces or the library that is used to develop servlets will be there in the Tomcat itself, Tomcat lib. These are the This is the jar file which has all the entities that are used to develop servlets. Servlet-api.jar will have all the entities that are used to develop servlets. Okay, and JSP-api.jar will have all the entities that are used to develop JSP pages. Okay, so these two are mandatory. Okay, so are these two available in the JVM, or are these some third-party jar files?
Third party.
That how we can make use of these third-party jar files in our command prompt?
By loading it to the path.
Is it? Why path is required?
What we use to the IDE we update that
I'm not asking about IDEs. Let's consider like I have this jar file and I want to make use of the classes present in this jar file in my application, and I'm executing this application through command prompt. What I need to do?
obsolete to
There is something like class path. Path is required to get all the commands, okay, to make the commands available to all the locations. Okay, let's consider like we have a Tomcat bin or JDK bin. In JDK bin we find commands related to Java C and Java. Okay, if we want to make them available throughout the operating system, wherever we go in the operating system, then we update the path. Path is required to make the commands available throughout the operating system. Class path is required to register the third party jar file so that they can be used throughout the operating system. Okay, so we'll update the class path with these two jar files. First thing that we need to do is we need to update the class path with these two jar files. Let me go to the class path, go for computer, right click, properties, go for advanced system settings, and then go for environmental variables. There is no class path, so I'll add a new class path. Okay, first the class path, first it should represent the current location. Dot means it represents the current location and as well as servlet-api.jar. Okay, and let me update. Yeah, currently for servlet-api.jar is now. So the class path has the current location, okay, as well as servlet-api.jar. Okay, now servlet-api.jar is there in my class path, so I can use the servlet related classes. Now let me develop a simple servlet, okay, which uses the servlet related classes. Now in order to develop a servlet, okay, servlet development is done with respect to the protocol. If we want to develop a servlet which will go with HTTP protocol, then we need to develop in one way. If it is for FTP, it's in another way. But in 99.99% of scenarios, okay, the servlet that we will develop will be with respect to HTTP protocol. So a servlet is nothing but a public class Let me name it as login servlet, which extends to a class which is named as http servlet. Okay. This http servlet is there in javax dot servlet dot http package. Okay, so and this http servlet has a method with the name service. Just I am overriding the method service method will take two arguments. Okay, http servlet request and http servlet response. Okay, these two are interfaces, http servlet request and http servlet response. These two are interfaces. These two are interfaces present in the same package, javax.servlet.http package. http servlet request, http servlet response. Okay, this will throw two exceptions: IO exception and servlet exception. Okay, so servlet exception is there in javax.servlet package. Is there in Java? It's not specific to HTTP. Servlet exception is there in javax.servlet package. And where IO exception will exist? In which package IO exception will exist? In which package IO exception will exist?
One-time exception.
Sharath, you should learn many things. It's not like we are continuing the classes. You should not forget the basics. If you don't have the basics, it's of no use. You don't have even minimum basics. I don't know what's going on. There is a package java.io where the IO exception will exist. Okay. Now let me give some system.out.println here. Inside login servlet. Okay, let me save it in webinf within a folder src. Okay, and let me develop another folder, classes. Classes wherever the src might be, the classes should be there in the webinf. Classes should be there in the webinf. Okay, a servlet class can be recognized by the server only when if it is there in classes folder of the webinf. Okay, it cannot recognize the servlet class if it is there somewhere else. A servlet class can be recognized only by the web server. A servlet class can be recognized by the web server only when it exists in the classes folder of the webinf. So in webinf we maintain a folder classes. In the classes folder we give it is a login servlet. Login servlet.java. Okay. Once we have a servlet class, okay, what we do is just let me try to compile the servlet class. First, let me stop the server which is existing. Let me try to compile the servlet class. Let me go for another command prompt. Okay, where my servlet class exists. Let me first let me copy the location. Where it is? It is not here, right? Hmm? Sorry, I have stored it in classes. It's a big mistake for me. Let me try to say we will cut it in classes. Save it in SRC. Okay, and classes, it doesn't exist. Classes should contain all the classes folders. Okay, so SRC should contain all the source code. Now let me copy the source code location and let me paste this location. Okay, and let me compile the class. Okay, then let me give this login servlet. Java. Okay. Is it compiled? Yes. So we see the classes. Login servlet classes later. But what happens is if you don't update the class path, let me don't update the class path. Okay, if you don't update the class path, what happens? Okay, this login servlet is using internally using servlet exception, HTTP servlet request, response, all these classes, all these entities. But from where the command prompt will get those entities? It should get from servlet API.jar. The class path is not updated, then it will not get them. So it will give a error. Servlet request and servlet response could not be found. Okay. So let me give a specific package structure rather than giving in a default package. Let me give a okay. It's always advisable to give a package structure. Okay. So let me save it in the specific location. HCU servlet demo. Okay, from this location I will remove that then. Okay, I will get this from this location. Now it is from package structure com HCU servlet demo. Okay, now let me try to compile the same. Now it is in specific package structure com slash HCU slash servlet slash demo slash. While compiling, we should use slash. It is compiled. If we see the classes, is a comp receive select demo login. So now we have developed a very simple servlet class. Okay, and the servlet class, a servlet class is a class, okay, which extends to the generic servlet class. Okay, so here we have a HTTP servlet, which is a generalized servlet class. Okay, so HTTP servlet is a generalized servlet class for all the servlets with HTTP protocol. Okay, if you want to develop a servlet which corresponds to HTTP protocol, then I should extend that servlet class with HTTP servlet. So I'm using a servlet class, or I'm developing a servlet class, okay, which corresponds to HTTP protocol. So I'm developing a servlet class which extends to HTTP servlet. Okay, and the HTTP servlet contains a method service. Okay, HTTP servlet contains a method service. Okay, which takes two arguments: HTTP servlet request, HTTP servlet response. Both are interfaces. Okay, both are interfaces. Then how we create objects means for interfaces. How objects are, see, HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response are interfaces. Then how objects are created and how these are called. How objects are created for HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response, which are interfaces. Is it possible to create objects for interfaces?
Not directly.
Then how? How will create HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response objects to call this service method? Chirath, we told it many times. We use an anonymous inner class. Okay, if the interviewer asks you like, is it an interface? It is an interface and it is abstract class, and how you could able to create an object? The only answer is anonymous inner class. Do you remember what is anonymous inner class? That's how. And yeah, please refer to that anonymous inner class, which will be in earlier classes. Then we have developed a servlet, okay, and servlet can be made as a dynamic web resource, and servlet can be made as a web resource. But how we can trigger? Let's consider like it is a static web resource like HTML. See, here we have test.html, where when we submit the submit button, it will go for hello.html. So since it is a static web resource, directly we have given the web resource name hello.html. So when we start the server, the server is started, and when we go for the test.html, and when we submit the page, okay, it will go to hello.html. How it is going to hello.html means, okay, we have given it in the action. But how we can make, or how we can develop the web page so that when I submit this form, or when I click on submit button, it should go to the login servlet. How I can configure that? Okay, that we are going to discuss. See, if it is a static web resource, directly we will give the static web resource name. But if it is a dynamic web resource like a servlet, how we can do that? How we can make this dynamic web resource servlet available to the HTML page or any other web page? Means first, when we have developed a servlet and when we have a servlet with us, okay, the first thing that we need to do is, okay, register that servlet in web.xml. Okay, here the actual usage of web.xml will come into picture. The first thing that we need to do is register that servlet in web.xml. Okay, in web.xml, how a servlet can be registered means using a tag servlet. A servlet tag has two child tags. A servlet name, a servlet class. Okay, let me name the servlet as login servlet, but can be any name. It need not to be the same as a servlet class. The servlet name can be any name, need not be same as a servlet class, but we have given the same name. The servlet name can be any name, it need not to be the same as the servlet class. So just I have given the name as login servlet and the class as is exact class with package structure also. The package structure also. Okay, so there should be a servlet name, can be any name. Servlet class should have the servlet class along with the package structure. Okay, then once we have a servlet register, okay, then how we can make use of that servlet in the web pages means, okay, we should have some mapping to the servlet. We cannot use login servlet in our web page. Okay, so we should map the servlet. What servlet mapping tag will do means, the servlet mapping tag will map the servlet to a URL pattern. Okay, so we cannot use the big name login servlet in our web pages. So what we do is, we'll configure the servlet, or we'll map the servlet to a specific URL pattern. Just because we cannot give a very big name of servlet in the web page, so we'll give the URL pattern like login. If it is a simple name, then we should proceed with a forward slash. Okay, something like slash login. Okay, after the web application, if we give slash login, then it will go to the login servlet. Okay, so then how we can represent this servlet on the web page means using this URL pattern. If you give this URL pattern, then it will first it will search for, let me explain. I'll give this login as my URL pattern. I'll give login as my URL pattern. Okay, so when I give action as login, first what it will do means, the web server will try to get a static web resource with the name login, but we don't have any static web resource with the name login. So it will try to go to web.xml and it will try to find a URL pattern with login. Do we have a URL pattern with login? Do we have a URL pattern with the name login? Yes. It will take the corresponding servlet name and it will go to the servlet tag which has the corresponding servlet name. What's the servlet name? Login servlet. So it will go to the servlet tag which has the corresponding servlet name. Now it will get the servlet class which is corresponding to the servlet name. So it will go to the servlet class, and in the servlet class it will go to the service method. That's how it will do. That's how the servlet will be executed. Understood? So now we have given the login as my URL pattern. Now let me try to stop the server and look at the server. Is there any mistake here? Sorry, we should end up with this servlet name. Okay, that's a mistake. You can try to restart the server. If you make any changes in the webinar folder, whatever the change it will be, you should restart the server. Line 9. Just now it is fine. Now it is fine. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll go to the test.html. Let me refresh the page. Okay, let me click on submit. Okay, it's going to hello app / login, but it's displaying a blank web page. But if we go here, is it going to the servlet? It's displaying inside login servlet. Okay, in the console. Now is it coming here? It's coming here, but the browser content is empty just because we did not display any content from the servlet. Okay, we did not write any code in the servlet so that some content will be displayed in the browser. Okay, understood how a servlet cycle will happen? Okay, first we develop a servlet which is extending to the base servlet class which corresponds to a specific protocol. Currently we are developing a servlet which corresponds to HTTP protocol, so we have extended it with HTTP servlet. Okay, and then what we do is once we develop a servlet, okay, and we override the service method which takes HTTP servlet request, HTTP servlet response as two arguments. These two are interfaces, okay, and which will throw away exception and servlet exception. That's fine. Once we have the servlet developed here, and what we do is, okay, we go to the web.xml and register that servlet. How we can register the servlet means by using the servlet tag. Okay, with servlet name which can be any name and servlet class along with the package structure. Okay, and the servlet mapping tag will map the servlet with a specific URL pattern. This URL pattern will be used to represent this servlet in the web page. Okay, so if I give /login, then it will go to the login servlet. Okay, so now this URL pattern we should give in the web page. So I have given as a action. Okay, so when I give action as login, first what the web server will do means it will search for a static web resource with the name login, but it does not find any static web resource with the name login. So it will try to find a dynamic web resource through web.xml. So in web.xml there is a servlet configured with a URL pattern login. So it will take the servlet name and it will go to the servlet which has that servlet name. Okay, login servlet is there. So for that servlet name, what is the servlet class configured? Login servlet. So it will come to the login servlet and it will execute the service method of the login servlet. Understood? This is how the servlet execution will be. Okay. So rather than giving a URL pattern like this, we can even give a URL pattern like this: star.login. Star.login means anything .login will go to this servlet. So let me stop the server. If you do any change, in the web banner folder, we should restart the server better to reflect these changes. So now let me go to test.html, okay, and submit the what it is telling. It's telling like hello app /login doesn't exist. It's a resource not found. So now the URL, first it will search for, when we click on submit button here, it will search for a static web resource with the name login, but the static web resource doesn't exist. Then it will try to fetch a dynamic web resource with the URL pattern login. But do we have any dynamic web resource with the URL pattern simple the login? No. We have star.login. something dot login will work for this. So let me give hello dot login. Star dot login means something dot login. If you give star, then we should not give a forward slash here. If you give star means we should not give a forward slash. Okay. So let me try to refresh the browser. The test.html and click on submit. It has gone to this page and even gets displayed in the login servlet. Understand how the servlet flow will be? Okay. This is how we can develop a very sample servlet. Okay. Next session we will discuss in depth about the servlets. First practice this flow, how the servlet flow will be. Practice the sample servlet. If you are comfortable with the sample servlet, then we'll go with some extended things. Okay.
Servlet life cycle and everything.
ఉంటుంది. It also fits